Character is a person's true foundation. It determines whether others are willing to be close to you. This is HL Whispers, and I hope every word here helps you see human nature more clearly. In life, the hardest thing to truly see through is the human heart. Some people may dress elegantly, yet be narrow. Minded inside, others may be quiet and reserved, yet turn out to be honest and sincere. Today's story begins with a 60-year-old restaurant owner, Susan Lin. My name is Susan Lin, and I'm 60 years old. For more than 30 years, I've been running a small restaurant. Countless customers have come and gone before me. Some sit down and immediately order the waitstaff around. Some quietly place food into their companion's bowl. Some bury themselves in endless self-centered talk. Some always think about making sure others are comfortable. Over the years, I've come to realize the dining table is a mirror of life. No matter how carefully someone tries to disguise themselves, the truth is always revealed over a single meal, because how someone behaves at the table is not just about eating. It reflects their instincts, their manners, their character, and how they treat the people around them. Today, I want to share with you the deepest lesson I've learned from my 3 decades in the restaurant business. It's the little details at the table that reveal a person's true character. Those who understand this can avoid detours in life and steer clear of hypocrisy. Those who don't will repeatedly suffer harm and be drained by others. Please listen until the end, because these details might completely change the way you see people. And now, let me tell you about an encounter I will never forget, a blind date meeting that took place right in my restaurant. For more than 30 years of running my restaurant, I've witnessed countless important gatherings, but that day's tense atmosphere is still etched in my memory. After all, it was the first formal meeting between 2 families, and the future of their children was on the line. At first, everything went smoothly. The bride's mother carried herself with elegance, spoke gently, and dressed tastefully. I remember thinking to myself, what a gracious and steady woman. But then, one small incident changed everything. That day, the restaurant was busy, and the dishes came out 5 minutes later than usual. At that moment, the bride's mother waved over a waiter and said coldly, "Why is the food so slow? This is an important occasion, and you're being unprofessional." The waiter apologized repeatedly, but she pressed on, "Who booked this restaurant next time? Choose somewhere else." The atmosphere instantly froze. When the dishes finally arrived, she frowned again. "This soup is too salty. This dish is too bland." She even turned to the groom's mother with a forced smile and said in a cutting tone, "Do you usually cook this heavily at home too?" Right then, I clearly saw the groom's mother's expression stiffen. To make matters worse, the bride's mother ate with rough manners, dragging the serving dish right in front of herself with her chopsticks, completely ignoring others. Her chewing was loud and rushed. The groom's father, sitting beside her, gave a soft cough and looked away, embarrassed. As time went on, her complaints piled up. The air conditioner is too noisy. The lights are too dim. Finally, when a waiter poured her water, she slammed the cup on the table. Even the water takes forever. What awful service! At that moment, a thought crossed my mind. This marriage may not work out. Sure enough, before the meal was even over, the groom's mother stood up and said quietly, "Today was meant to be a happy occasion, but I'll be leaving first." A few days later, I heard from a friend. The marriage was indeed called off. That blind date dinner gave me a new clarity. A person's true nature isn't in polished words. It's revealed in the smallest details at the table. First lesson, you can often judge someone's character by how they take their very first spoonful. No matter how elegant their clothes or smile, those can be disguised. But the moment the spoon touches the dish, their real self emerges. Because a spoon is not just a tool for eating. It carries patience, rhythm, consideration for others, and even reflects how one approaches life. My 3 decades in the restaurant business have taught me, watch how a person eats, and you can read their inner world. Those who shovel food quickly and noisily often lack patience. Their hearts are restless, full of irritation. At work, they flare up over the smallest changes. At home, they often can't control their temper. Their mouths may say, "It's fine," but their eyes and tone reveal simmering discontent. In contrast, those who eat calmly look around the table, smile, take a gentle bite, and engage others in conversation. People like this can steady their emotions in any situation. They give others a sense of security, and so they naturally earn trust and reliance. A psychology experiment at the University of Minnesota confirmed this. Researchers divided 300 volunteers into groups for a buffet. One group ate hurriedly, piling food on their plates. The other ate slowly, savoring and chatting. The results showed those who ate in a rush scored 37% higher than average in impulsivity, aggression, and impatience. But their ability to maintain relationships was 42% lower. On the other hand, those who ate slowly scored twice as high in empathy, emotional stability, and trustworthiness. These numbers reminded me of that blind date dinner. The bride's mother who kept rushing the food, complaining and pulling dishes to herself. Her spoon habits had already revealed the outcome. One meal ruined a marriage. As the philosopher Schopenhauer once said, a person's character often shows first in their smallest habits. The dining table is the truest test, remember. If someone is always impatient, eating with complaints, it's best to keep your distance. But the person who looks up, smiles, says, "This is delicious," and takes care of others first, that is the person you can trust and keep close for the long run. A pair of chopsticks, a single spoon. They're enough to reveal someone's true character. Never overlook these details, because they are the clearest signals. Second point, to judge a person. Watch how they treat those weaker than themselves. At the dining table. Manners can't hide a person's true nature, especially when facing people they believe are beneath them. The attitude they reveal is often the most authentic reflection of their character. A team of behavioral psychologists at Harvard University once conducted such an experiment. They invited 200 volunteers to participate. An actor playing the role of a senior executive was seated at the table. On the other side sat someone playing a waiter. The participants were only told after the meal, "You may receive a personality evaluation and a recommendation letter." When the dinner began, an unexpected pattern appeared. In front of the executive, most participants behaved extremely politely, smiling, nodding, showing as much respect as possible. But when facing the waiter, things changed dramatically. If the food was a bit slow to arrive, or the water glass wasn't refilled quickly, many participants immediately showed impatience. "What's taking so long?" "This service is terrible." The results showed a full 68% of participants expressed complaints or disdain toward the waiter. Even more striking, these same people were later evaluated as lacking trustworthiness, low in empathy, and prone to conflict. In contrast, those who remained polite to everyone behaved very differently. They would say softly, "No worries, take your time." "Thanks, I appreciate it." "You did a great job. The food is delicious." In the final assessments, these individuals ranked in the top 10% for leadership, charisma, and social trust. Once again, the facts proved when power differences are obvious, a person's true self is most easily revealed. No one can forever wear a mask in front of those they consider weaker. So the people truly worth keeping close aren't the ones who flatter the powerful at the table. They are the ones who patiently listen, treat the waiter kindly, and even when small mistakes happen, still smile and say, "It's okay, thank you." And at the very end, they sincerely add, "Great job, we really enjoyed the meal." Remember this, your attitude toward those weaker than you is your true bottom line, and it defines the size of your character. Third point, how a person shares food reveals their true character. At the dining table. The differences between people often show up in the smallest details. Some keep their heads down, focused only on their own plate from start to finish. Others quietly pick up a piece from the serving dish, place it into someone else's bowl, and say casually, "You like this? Have a little more." In my 30-plus years of running a restaurant, I've seen this scene countless times. A big platter is set on the table. Some people immediately drag the whole dish toward themselves. But others always think of others first. "Would you like to try this?" This seemingly small action actually reflects a person's character and how they treat others. The Harvard Business School once conducted a study. They invited 500 participants and divided them into two groups. One group usually ate alone, while the other often shared meals with others afterward. Researchers measured their cooperation, trust, and empathy. The results were striking. Those who made a habit of serving others food or offering drinks scored nearly twice as high in cooperation and social trust. Compared to those who didn't, psychologist Adam Grant once said, "Small acts of sharing are often the strongest foundation of trust in life." I still remember a heartwarming scene. One day, a family of 3 came to eat at my restaurant. The mother gently told her child, "This dish is your favorite, eat a little more." The child beamed with joy. Meanwhile, the father quietly scooped a spoonful of soup into his wife's bowl. That meal carried not just flavor, but warmth. Care and thoughtfulness filled the atmosphere, wrapping the family in love and happiness. People like this, no matter where they go, naturally attract others, because a single gesture of sharing food, a single caring word, lets others feel their kindness and generosity. By contrast, those who always drag the serving dish toward themselves, never saying a word and eating in a rush. In real life, they often focus only on their own gain, and at critical moments, rarely think of others. The French philosopher Montaigne once said, "The small acts of thoughtfulness shown at the dining table will be repeated endlessly at the great banquet of life." So never underestimate the meaning of a pair of chopsticks or a glass of water. Whether or not someone knows how to share is the clearest reflection of their heart. Fourth point, indifference at the table is often the beginning of a broken relationship. A person's attitude is most easily revealed at the dining table, especially when they're sitting right across from someone, yet keep all their attention glued to the phone in their hand. In my 30-plus years of running a restaurant, I've witnessed countless such scenes. Friends reunite after a long time apart. They sit down together, but within minutes, one of them is already hunched over, scrolling mechanically through their phone. "How have you been lately?" Fine, I guess." The words are spoken, but the voice is hollow, and the eyes never leave the screen. In that moment, the smile on the other person's face stiffens, and their heart quietly grows cold. I remember one particular time, 3 young people came to eat. One of them was clearly stressed, preparing for exams and job applications. His exhaustion showed on his face. Seeing this, a friend gently asked as soon as they sat down, "You've been having a hard time lately, haven't you?" At first, the mood was warm. But before the young man could answer, the friend lowered his head, eyes fixed on his phone, though he nodded absently and muttered, "Yeah." His eyes showed no attention at all. The young man spoke a few more sentences, then realized the other wasn't really listening. After a moment of silence, he set down his chopsticks, gave a bitter smile, and said, "Forget it. Let's just eat." The air around the table instantly turned cold. From where I stood, it was clear. It wasn't about the words spoken. It was the indifference, the feeling of not being valued. That hurt most. In fact, a study at Stanford University revealed this clearly. Researchers grouped pairs of friends and couples to share meals. The results showed those who put their phones aside, made eye contact, and engaged in genuine conversation reported 3 times higher levels of satisfaction and emotional connection afterward. Meanwhile, those who checked their phones frequently during meals left their partners feeling ignored and isolated. Afterward, their communication and closeness dropped sharply. The dining table has never been just a place for food. It is a mirror that reflects the warmth, or coldness, of a relationship. In those moments, if you can put down your phone, look someone in the eyes, listen attentively, and nod sincerely, that small gesture of respect is enough to make them feel warmth and trust. As the psychologist Alfred Adler once said, "The greatest courtesy you can show another person is to listen with full attention." Those who can focus and show respect at the table will earn trust and affection wherever they go. Fifth point, those who don't know gratitude will eventually lose their relationships. In over 30 years of running a restaurant, I've met all kinds of customers. Some finish their meal without saying a single thank you, or that was great. They just lower their heads, get up silently, and walk away. Every time I see that, I sigh to myself, someone who can't even express basic gratitude won't get far in life. Never underestimate the power of a simple thank you. It may seem trivial, but it is the foundation of the strongest relationships. At Pennsylvania State University, a study tracked 200 relationships over 6 months. The results showed when people regularly expressed gratitude, 80% of those relationships repaired naturally, even after conflict. But among those who rarely said thank you and took everything for granted, 60% of their relationships quickly grew distant once friction appeared. It's the same at the dining table. A simple phrase like, "That meal was wonderful," or "Thank you for your effort," can warm the hearts of the cooks, the servers, and even everyone at the table, but those who only complain, too salty, too bland, without ever saying thank you will one day find themselves left out. I remember one customer who complained from start to finish. When it came time to pay, he left without even a word of thanks, just a nod. But I also remember an elderly man after his meal. He stopped me, pressed his palms together, and said sincerely, "This meal was really delicious. Thank you for your effort." Then he even pulled out a handkerchief to gently wipe the table before leaving. That warmth stayed with me until this very day. Grateful people deepen relationships. Ungrateful people drain them away. As the Roman philosopher Cicero once said, "Gratitude is the mother of all virtues." Friends, remember this fifth truth. At the dining table, those who express gratitude are worth a lifetime of companionship. Those who lack it will eventually leave you disappointed. 30 years of experience has taught me. A simple thank you at the table often determines the longevity and warmth of a relationship. I recall one ordinary evening when a middle-aged couple came to dine. That day the restaurant was unusually busy and the dishes were delayed. I apologized repeatedly, feeling uneasy, but the woman just smiled softly and said, "It's all right. Waiting a little is fine." The waiting itself becomes a memory. Her calm words carried a quiet strength. The tension in the air dissolved. Even the kitchen staff, overhearing her, smiled with relief. When the food arrived, the man tasted the soup, nodded slowly, and said, "This flavor is wonderful. It feels comforting." Even though it was a touch salty, his eyes shone with contentment. The couple smiled at each other, and the meal became warm and unhurried. When they finished, they set down their chopsticks, raised their glasses for a sip of water, and said sincerely, "Today's meal made us feel at peace." Thank you. In that moment, I truly understood what human warmth means. Their attitude didn't just comfort those around them. It inspired the servers to put in even more heart and care. The dining table always reflects the heart. Some bring impatience and complaints. Others bring gentleness and thoughtfulness. I eventually realized what shows at the table isn't just habit or temperament. It's a fragrance of character that cannot be hidden. Those who make others feel relaxed and comfortable at the table are people you can trust for life. So remember this, when you meet someone who knows gratitude and brings warmth, keep them in your life, because such people, wherever they go, make relationships closer and fill life with peace and kindness. First, someone who can still smile in awkward moments is worth a lifetime of companionship. I've noticed that such people are always surrounded by others. Opportunities come naturally to them, and warm connections follow without effort. A psychology study at Duke University proved this as well. In tense situations, if someone nearby could smile and say a few encouraging words, the stress levels of others dropped by 41%. In other words, a simple smile or a positive word can change the temperature of a relationship and dissolve conflicts that might otherwise erupt. As the Italian philosopher Machiavelli once said, "True relationships are not built on authority or command, but grow in smiles and calmness." So, friends, if you meet such a person at the table, don't miss the chance to treasure that connection. Second, the person who pours water or passes food to others first is someone who has kindness woven into their very nature. American psychologist Adam Grant once said, "True givers are those who don't even realize it, because thoughtfulness has already become part of their daily life." At the table, one small act, filling a glass, serving a dish, reflects how someone treats people in everyday life. Do they only care about themselves, or do they think of others first? The answer is already written in these details. So, friends, if you ever meet someone at the table who doesn't rush to say me first, but instead quietly pours you a drink or gently says, "Try this while it's hot," remember, this is someone not just worth sharing a meal with, but worth keeping in your life. Third, those who willingly say this is delicious are often the warmest at heart. A person who truly carries kindness never hesitates to express appreciation. A study from the Harvard University Communication Research Center found that people who naturally express positive words at the table are also more likely to notice the good in others in daily life. Their trust index was over 40% higher than average. Interestingly, these people are also the ones surrounded by laughter, because everyone loves being around them. Yes, a simple "this is delicious" or "thank you" may seem small. But when someone doesn't hold back from such words, it shows that their very life carries warmth. Fourth, those who look into your eyes and listen patiently at the table. What warms the heart is not endless chatter, but focused listening. A smile, a nod, a gentle "I understand." These gestures bring peace to others. Some people, even while eating, still look up to ask, "And then what happened? How did you feel at that moment?" These are the people who have already made empathy and thoughtfulness part of their daily habits. As psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "People always want to stay close to those who make them feel respected." So, friends, remember this. The ones who talk the most at the table aren't necessarily the most welcome. The ones who truly linger in your memory are those who quietly listen until you're finished. A steady gaze, a gentle nod. These can turn into warmth that lasts a lifetime. The 30 years of experience from Susan Lin tell us this truth. The details at the dining table reveal character more clearly than appearances ever can. Those who smile, who care, who express gratitude, who listen, who show appreciation, they are the people truly worth keeping by your side for life. If these words resonate with you, I invite you to share your own story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, so together we can spread sincerity and kindness. This is HL Whispers. May Susan Lin's stories help you learn to see character at life's dining table, and also learn to become a warmer person yourself. See you in the next episode.